Welcome, everyone. My name is Heather Odendaal, and I am the co-founder and CEO of WNORTH. And I am popping on here today to chat a little bit about the upcoming WNORTH Conference. As many of you may know, after a 3-year hiatus from in-person conference, we are live at the end of April. We will be returning to Needle Lake Lodge in Whistler, Canada, for our 7th annual conference. As an event producer, being able to bring back an in-person component to our conference, I'm absolutely thrilled. There will also be a virtual component to the conference. So if you wish to tune in, this will be a fully hybrid experience with different tracks for people who are tuning in virtually and people who are tuning in person in Whistler. So the purpose of today is for me to share a little bit about the conference, to answer some questions, and to really just lay the foundations for the exciting event that we have coming up in just over, I guess, just under 2 months, as we are at the end of February already. So before I get started, I thought I would just quickly share a little bit about the origins of why I started the WNORTH Conference. And if you have heard this story before, please forgive me. But I think it's really important to understand where the inspiration came from to start the conference. The first WNORTH Conference took place in 2015. At the time, I was working for a Fortune 500 company, and I was really seeking leadership development and a path forward from mid-management into more of a senior role. I went on the journey of looking for specifically a conference. I was a remote employee, which in 2015 was a little bit more rare, but I was looking for a destination where I could connect with women who were from across North America, American, Canadian women, and not just entirely tied to one city. So on this journey, I went looking for a conference that was accessible, that was approachable, that women really supported one another, and that fostered these really deep connections. And there were a few that I found, a couple of them very far out of my price range, and one which I applied for, and my application was denied. Instead of really letting that affect me, my husband sort of pushed me and said, clearly you can't find what you are looking for. Take some of your experience. And at that time, I had a background in events as well as corporate sponsorship and marketing. And he really pushed me to create that conference that I was seeking. And that is the sort of inspiration and the story behind why I created the first WNORTH conference in 2015. And since then, I've been hyper focused on creating those quality connections. Our events have always been boutique. We have less than 200 people at all of our conferences. And even when we do other events, there's always a focus on quality versus quantity of connections at our events. So coming out of COVID, boutique and curated audiences and curated attendance is, I believe, going to be, a really huge movement forward for many events. And that's where we've been operating for many years now. So with the return of the WNORTH Conference, we thought it might be good to have an opportunity to answer some questions that we've been receiving. And so I'm going to do just that. So the first question is, what exactly can I expect at the WNORTH Conference? Well, one of the things that I mentioned a little bit, but is around the intimate environment. Nita Lake Lodge is a 70-room boutique hotel nestled in the mountains of Whistler on a beautiful lake. It is one of the most gorgeous properties, not only in Whistler, but I would argue in British Columbia. And the experience at WNORTH is not like going to a convention center in the heart of a large city. It is the complete opposite. It is an opportunity for women to get out of their city, maybe out of their the company that they're working in, and cross networking with other women from other organizations. So there's a really great cross section of corporate women and entrepreneurial women. And I would argue it's harder to find spaces where women in both of those realms come together. And WNORTH is really focused on bringing women from multiple sectors, as well as from the corporate, public, and entrepreneurial experiences, and bringing them together with a focus on leadership development, and advancing ourselves. So that's a little bit about what to expect. The next question is, how do I register for the conference? Last week we went live on a registration at WNORTHconference.com, and the news to share is that we are 70% sold out. So is our hotel. So if you are interested in joining us, it is important that you make all of the arrangements as soon as possible. We have a really handy convince your boss document on our website, and I encourage you to present that to your employer. In the past, in our survey, 75% of our attendees have had their conference covered off by either their own business or the company that they work for. If you need a request letter or a letter from myself to convince your boss, I'm also happy to do that as well. Just having another look here at my questions. Oh, I'm going to take hi, Christina, April, Achul. So good to see all of you here. So what is included in the cost of my ticket? So there's two ways to experience the WNORTH conference this year. One is virtually, and I'm incredibly excited about the uptake on the virtual experience so far. We have quite a few attendees tuning in, so that will be an incredible opportunity to bring people from all over the world really together. In that experience, it's 2 days. The days would be Wednesday, the 27th, half day, and then a full day on the 28th. We have curated networking events that are included in that access as well, and then the full library of replays. And with our in-person experience, as a part of our mission to really align the women in our network, all of our in-person events require a mastermind membership. So with your in-person ticket, you will get a 1-year mastermind membership to the Members Club at WNORTH. And you may be asking, well, what is that? So it is an online membership that's connecting women in 10 plus chapter cities, as well as virtually all over the world, that we deliver. We deliver weekly events, monthly workshops. We host leadership masterminds, which are included in the membership, with 5 members and an executive coach, and a number of other programs. So we are not just working on the WNORTH conference. We are year-round working on development tools and programs to support you, to connect you with other like-minded women. So that membership is included in your in-person ticket. It is a 3-day conference, so your whole conference pass is included, 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches, a curated WNORTH gift box, which will be a value of over $250, We are actually, we have a few more spaces left in our gift box. If you are an entrepreneur, or you have a product, or you work for a company and you would like to get it in the box, then send us a DM. The opening reception, which will be hosted in the gorgeous patio of Needle Lake Lodge, right overlooking the lake. In late April, the snow will be gone and the sun will be out, and I just can't wait for that opening reception. And a couple of the other benefits, we will have a VIP concierge service to answer any questions about your trip to Whistler, a dedicated leadership mastermind facilitator. We're going to have some events in Whistler Village as well, so there's free shuttles to those. I'll get into that in a minute. Oh, hi, Nicole. So excited you're able to come. It's wonderful. Okay, going through my list here. Okay, what is the theme of the conference? Okay, this is one of my favorite questions to answer, mainly because it's just firing me up right now as I'm working on the agenda and the program. And the theme for this year's conference is the new leadership playbook for an inclusive economy. So those of you who may have been at the 2018 WNORTH Conference in Whistler will remember Hala Thomas-Daughter. And Hala, at the time, was just coming off of a presidential election in which she was a candidate for Iceland. She flew over and presented our closing keynote. And shortly thereafter, Hala took a position up in New York City. She is now the CEO of the B Team, which is Richard Branson's social purpose company. And last year, the B Team has come up with a new leadership playbook. And the theory is that it's time that we need to catalyze a new leadership model that places humanity at its heart. And we've seen this over the pandemic. We have seen a global shift and a movement towards empathetic leadership. And we also recognize that if we are going to tackle some of the world's biggest issues, sustainability, the energy transition, the shift in global markets, in order to do all of these things, we need to write a new leadership playbook. And so the theme of this year's conference will be around what does that new leadership playbook look like, inspired by the B Team. So if you want to learn more about that, I encourage you to go to the newleadershipplaybook.org, where you can read the letter to the leaders that is also signed by Arianna Huffington, Richard Branson, Indra Nooyi, Mark Benioff. Very inspiring. So that's a little bit about the theme. And what else do we got here? What will the events in the in-person conference look like? So some of the events we will be hosting, one of the things that I really look to do at this conference is to foster those points of connection. And so networking events are pivotal in our program. As I mentioned before, we will have an opening reception, which is hosted at Needle Lake Lodge. We will also be bringing back our Connect dinners, and the Connect dinners will be hosted in the evening on the Thursday. And one of the incredible things about these Connect dinners is that they're hosted by speakers. So we have speakers from the conference who will be at the helm of these tables, which are hosted in a variety of private dining rooms around Whistler Village at the finest restaurants. And these are one of the, I'd say, flagship events of our conference. So those will be coming back. And Friday, I won't be revealing too many of the details for Friday yet, but Friday will be a focus on getting into smaller groups and getting out into the wonderful world of Whistler. And we will have a couple of special events as related to that. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek of some of those. One of the other questions that is, I've got it on here. One of the other questions that we've been getting, and this is all on our website as well if you want to review in more details, is my conference pass refundable. So as many of you know, it has been a number of, there has been a number of challenges in the last few years with regards to event production. So we're excited to be bringing back the conference. And in fact, we waited to launch the conference until we knew more about the various travel requirements and the changing landscape. And so we are doing the best that we can, which is the conference pass is fully refundable if it's 45 days out from the event or earlier. Within that window, we have a couple of things. So you can transfer your pass if it's within 45 days. Or you, if you have a virtual pass, you will get 50% back. So all the details are on our website, but we are trying to be as accommodating as possible in that realm. And let's see, I think I have one or two more questions here. Who is joining the speaker stage? Oh my goodness, great question. So, excuse me. Normally I'm not talking as much. Nope, that's not the right one. Sorry. Okay, who is joining the speaker stage? So we have announced a number of our speakers already, and we will have some additional speaker announcements coming down the line in the next few weeks. But I'm very pleased to share we will be having Shannon Platts, who's a Global Vice President of Platform Solutions at SAP, as our opening keynote. We will also have the return of Dr. Chitra Anand, who has spoken at WNORTH before, and she has spoken both in Toronto and Whistler. She is an incredible leader out of Toronto, former tech executive, and she is currently the managing director of Clarity Strategic Advisors and an author. She will be talking about trust as the new currency, and more details will be coming out about her keynote. We will also have Hitha Palepu. She recently wrote a book called We Are Speaking about the life lessons of Kamala Harris and really pulling on Kamala's unique leadership style. And so she will be doing a keynote to share on that. Those are our in-person, some of our in-person keynotes. Virtually, we are so lucky to have the opportunity to bring in speakers virtually as well. Meeta Malik, who has been on a couple of our WNORTH events before, who's head of inclusion, equity, and impact at CARTA. She will be tuning in, and Emily Chang, who's the former CMO of China, Starbucks China. She's now the CEO of McCann World Group in China, and she'll be talking a little bit more about social legacy. And she has a book called The Spare Room, which you may have seen on my show just published before. Jane Stoller will be joining us in person to talk about organization in an executive capacity. We'll be doing a workshop on that. And we have a fantastic female founders panel that Amy Nelson from The Riveter will be moderating with Ashley Freeborn, who is the founder of Smash and Tess, and Jen Harper, who is the founder and CEO of Cheekbone Beauty. And we will also have Dr. Rizal Gonzalez, who's head of diversity inclusion, and belonging at ATB Financial joining the stage. So that is just a little bit of a snapshot of who we have confirmed so far. And like I said, there will be more announcements coming down. If you are just joining us, we are talking about the WNORTH Conference, which will be taking place April 27th to 29th at Needle Lake Lodge. I'm just going to add the URL here. So if you want to check it out, that is the website. And I think that might have gotten through all of the questions that we had. I'm just going to take one more look. Couple of the other things. Oh, here's a great one. How can I prepare beforehand for a successful conference? Great question. So our team will be sending out around some pre-event materials and resources for registered attendees. When you purchase a ticket, if you're coming in person, it does include a mastermind membership. And I highly encourage you to sign up on our membership platform, introduce yourself on the platform, and start attending the virtual and in-person events. So a little bit about the in-person events. As a part of your mastermind membership, you have access to attending our member meetups. Member meetups are held in our chapter cities once a month, and we will be resuming some of those in March in Vancouver and Calgary, and then the rest of the cities in April. So you'll have an opportunity if you live in Ottawa or Toronto, Calgary, Kitchener-Waterloo, New York, London, Vancouver, Calgary, I think I mentioned, to meet in person with our city directors. So there's a really great opportunity to not only become a part of the WNORTH Conference community, but to become a part of the wider mastermind membership as a part of WNORTH. So really encourage you to fully leverage that experience and become a part of the community. How can I prepare for a conference to get the most out of both digital and in person? Oh, okay. So in terms of in person, this is a sort of a networking strategy that I use. And this is one of the reasons why we use the event platform that we do. We host our event on Bizzabo. Now, Bizzabo is our event platform, but it's also a networking platform. So as soon as you register for the WNORTH Conference, you will be able to download the Bizzabo app, which allows you to see who else is coming to the conference. And whenever I go to a conference, and I encourage all of you to do the same, I will utilize these networking apps to suss out who else is going to be there. These events come and go so quickly. So if you do the correct kind of prep to really find out who's going to be there, who you'd like to connect with, maybe organize to meet them for coffee or to reach out on LinkedIn and be connected with them before you go there. And I think that also stays true for an in-person in a virtual setting. You have to work almost like, I think I was reading some statistics, takes 3 times as long to develop a relationship with somebody online. So if you are going to be networking virtually, start fostering those relationships in advance of the conference. As soon as you register, download the Bizzabo app, start to have a look around and see who is going, who you can connect with, and even have preliminary calls with other women so you have built a relationship with them before the conference happens. So that's just a little bit of a taste. As I mentioned, the WNORTH Conference is returning. It's our 7th annual at Needle Lake Lodge. We are 70% sold out of both the tickets and the hotel. And I would love to see you there. We have a Convince Your Boss document that you can download on our website, wnorthconference.com. And if you need any other reasons, I'm happy to write you a referral and to share a little bit more. We're going to have the agenda details in mid-March, and you'll be, if you're following us or subscribed to our newsletter, you'll be getting those details coming into your inbox. But I want to just thank you for tuning in today and appreciate all of the support for the WNORTH organization and our programs supporting elevating more women to senior executive leadership. Thank you. Have a great day.